श्रवाः स्वस्ति न पूषा विश्ववेदाः स्वस्ति न क्षार्यो अरिष्टनेमिः स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्दतातु ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः. Welcome friends, we are into the great Pitru Paksha, Mahalaya Paksha, which has commenced. We are in the midst of it. Today is the Tritiya, though it is the Chaturthi, today is a Tritiya Sthiti. We are continuing with this. On this auspicious day, we will also pray to our forefathers as well as, all our Pitrus, Rishis, Rishi Pungavas, all the Gurus who have all are to be invoked, because everyone has got an important day during this Paksha. Especially this Dvadashi is known as the all yogis and munis, rishis. We will have to give our obeisance to them and gratitude to them. And we have got the last day, in the Mahalaya Paksha, we are invoking all our relatives, all our friends, or even friends' families, because Vasudeva Kutumbakam, nothing has to be kept only to ourselves. In fact, the Upanishad comes to that only. So during this process, it gives us an occasion to remember all our great fathers, mothers, and grandparents, great-grandparents, and all. We go only up to 3 generations. Whenever we recollect the Mahalaya Paksha, we go, first our fathers, or then, because grandfather and great-grandfather. But if you see, because there is a Shodasa Kala is there. There is one concept. But it is not directly applicable. Some of the great yogis or the great exponents, they try to define that Shodasa Kala is up to 16 generations, because we have all come through, because we may not be knowing. See, we may be unconsciously be carrying their memories and their qualities in us, in all our genes. Maybe one of our nose may look like one of our great-grandfather's great-grandfather, but we may not be aware of it. The way we are talking may be one of the earliest, the grandfather or great-grandfather's great-grandfather, or the mother's maternal grandfather, something like that. It will all be there. We are all a bundle of memories and the bundle of qualities and the bundle of attitudes that has come across through generations. See, normally, in the, this is also being invoked in others, like healing techniques and other things. But in our Sanatana Dharma, when we say 2 to the power of 16 in the sense, it is almost 16,354 people are there. See, your father, they are 2. And your father and mother had grandfather and grandmother, they are 4. The 2 to the power of 16 is your generation. So you are made up of the qualities, attitudes, mental thoughts, and your propensity to act, propensity to think. Everything has come from them. So we all have to express gratitude to them for having given us whatever we are today. It is because of that. We will have to express our wholehearted gratitude to all those people. But our Sanatana Dharma has taken a person's remembrance in Kali Yuga. You will not be able to see. It was possible in other Satya Yuga and others. They could remember everyone, because in Satya Yuga they were living for n number of years. And Treta Yuga they were living for about 10,000 years, because Rama was supposed to have ruled Satavarsha Sakastrani, because 11,100 years he has ruled. So at that point of time he was there. And like Dwapara Yuga, it is almost 1,000 years they have lived. Because when Bhishma was about 600 years and all, because when Krishna was also about closer to 90 years, when he was telling Gita and all. Arjuna was also in the late 70s, 80s, that type of a thing, because it was like that. But in the Kali Yuga, because we have got 100 years, and 100 years also being denoted as 100 moons, that comes to 80 years plus only. If you see the Adhika Masa and all taken together, and 100 moons is 80 years, that is why the Shatabdi is done when you are 80 itself. Because 100 moons you have seen, not that you reached 100 years. But then the fact remains, because this has come about slowly in the sense, that is why in Vedas In fact, it was all supposed to be one Veda earlier. The entire, some of the things, most of the things are not available, and we don't have any capacity to remember all the Vedas if you are also given the knowledge of it. And they are also living, their memory was the Upasmriti. They had that capacity. But in Kali Yuga, our remembrance, our everything is limited, Upasmriti. And that is why Vedavyasa had to take Avatara and divide the Vedas into 4. At least, each Veda, people do, because they say, I am Yajurveda, you are Rig Veda, and someone is Sama Veda. Normally, we have not come across Atharvana Veda. Atharva Veda is also there, who are all great rishis, and some of our forefathers, some of the lineage, someone must have been Atharva Veda, but somehow, it has not come into practice. It is practiced somewhere in northeast Kerala and so many other places. The Atharvana Veda is there. Atharvana Veda is also great Veda. So it gives the art of living. What people have picked up, art of living is nothing but, it was all Upanishadic words. So they have tried to use it, for giving a modern connotation and do it. So all these qualities are there. See, at this point of time, gratefully what we will have to invoke and do it is, when we have come across, when we are doing all this Mahalaya Paksha and we are invoking their blessings, we are doing the Tarpana, and even we are also doing Shraddha, Paksha Shraddha, the Apastamba Stutra, it is very clearly defined. And in fact, during this pandemic as well as during this particular time also, our Dharma Shastra has given a lot of exceptions. We have got a great scripture called Dharma Sindhu. And there is one more scripture called Madana Parijata. So all these things have been consulted. That is how Rudradimat Swamiji is, that Vidyapita, that Swamiji, who is Purvashrama, his great grandfather, he has given note, don't to worry whether you are able to do whatever you are able to do it. At least you try to give Tarpana, you give it, that's all. And if you think you couldn't do it all, don't bother. You keep the amount assigned separately, Niyama. You do it, and as and when things get better, you give it to them. So this has been given in our Dharma Shastra. So nowhere else, and I think no one has to feel guilty about it. We are not able to do it and all. This was circulated over YouTube even last year itself by the Uttaradimata Vidyapita and Swamiji. That is why Uttaradimata Swamiji has said, very clearly, you should close all the matas. You should not open it up. We should confirm what is the rule of the day and rule of the situation. And we have got every provision in our scriptures. We don't have to feel guilty about it. We are deemed to have complied as long as we follow the instructions. This is what we are fortunate to get a lot of gurus. Unlike other religions, where they have got very strict guidelines. You will have to do this, you will have to do that. Our Sanatana Dharma is so much of a liberal religion where we are given freedom to everything. Every freedom, as long as it is used in the right sense, it is equally as if you have complied. You don't have to worry about it. This is just I wanted to bring about. You can also share, because a lot of times, we find our relatives or known people feeling guilty. Last year I did it, year before last year. You might have done it. Not that's not a problem. But then, even in these situations, what you are doing is the best. No doubt about it. You can go about it. This is what I just wanted to bring about in this Paksha, what we are trying to do and all. So coming to this, our exposition, what we had, we are just looking into Turiya, just to recollect, because that Turiya, what it is, we said, we are giving lot of description as to it is not na anta pragyaha, na bahi pragyaha, na pragyana ganaha, all those things, whatever is not, neti, whatever is not, then we also gave a positive. Of course, that is also some sort of a denial only, because with this body, mind and intellect, Turiya is adurishtam. You will not be able to see with this body, mind and intellect. Why? Because you are not able to see, and we also said, because with the body, mind and intellect, you will not be able to approach. That is why, you will have to get into the Manana, Shravana, Manana, Nitidhyasana, and for that, how the meditation has to be done. And we went into the yogas, what way, because Sabija Yoga, Nirbija Yoga, and all those things we said, and how great people like Vivekananda, Ramana Maharishi has done, and we have got that and all. So when we have got that, what is our lot? What is that and how we can do it? It is Adrishtam. We have seen Avyavaharyam. It is not transactable. It is not, because you cannot take it as something, taught and taken, and you will not be able to sort of grasp it, with the normal parlance, what we understand. And Agrahyam. And, when you can't grasp it and you are able to do it, doesn't have a alakshanam. It doesn't have a, it can't be, it is a guna paripurna. Jnana yes, Satchitananda, guna paripurna, it can't be described. He is the embodiment of eternal knowledge. So embodiment of eternal knowledge, how will you describe? For a human mind, it is very difficult to identify and understand. That is why we said, all these things, Achintyam, Avyopadesham, and then we said, Ekatmiya Pratyaya Saram. Finally, the entire purpose is Eka. He is the all-powerful, omniscient. He is a Prabhu. And he is having all this, and Pratyaya Saram, he has got the special knowledge, and Pratyaya Saram in the sense, Prati knowledge, Prati Vastu. He knows about every person. He knows our vasanas, how we are going to live in this world, what are all our attitudes. He knows every one of us. He knows all animals. Pratyaya Saram, he knows that. So finally, the idea is to finally understand him, how we are able to understand. That is why we said, because we have got in the way of in the Jagrutasthana, Swapnasthana, and Sushuptasthana, that is waking state, dreaming state, and deep sleep state. And then once you get into the deep sleep state where you are almost close to the Paramatma, but you have got the absence of knowledge. You don't have any knowledge. It is something you are not, you get just close in the sense during that period. Once again you come back. And every day we come back to the Jagrutasthana. What we were telling was we will have to become a new person, new version of ourselves. See, every time it does, it is like a refining process. You can consider ourselves, this human body, to be a refinery, human body, mind, and intellect to be a refinery. Every day when you are refining, you are leaving out, all the dirt and all the sort of unwanted elements. You become purer and purer and purer. Till such time you have all the desires fulfilled, or the state when you don't have any desire, and when you have got, because we said, the Adi Samanvaya and Apti Samanvaya, you are fully satisfied. You have got nothing to desire. So that is the process of Shravana, Manana, Nitidhyasana, and having the experience every day and all doing it. And then we also said, because same in Sushuptasthana, because your Sushuptasthana is nothing but lateral impressions of the mind, which you have experienced in the world, you are able to get that. So whatever you experience in the world, you will get, because basically you will have an aspiration. So if you are just out of the college, your aspiration will be able to get a new job. And preferably once you go to the job, if you are satisfied, you will be there. Otherwise, to get a better job. And after some period of time, you are in the marriageable age, and someone says, you have to get married, and you acquiesce, you don't deny, because then you also get acted into that, say it may make a change and all, you get into that. But as you go through, you are accumulating, a lot of challenges. So as long as you were in the playful stage, you didn't have that much of challenges. All that you have to go and play with the friends, and once you come and then you have to go to school, and the school you will have to conform, and then you will have to study well. The pressure is there from parental pressure, the peer pressure, the other pressure is there. Then once you come out of then you go to the college, and you will have to choose the subject which you want. In all probabilities, you will not get it. By chance, you will get it, and you will pursue that. And then, after that, you will not be satisfied. You want to do something more. Finally, you land up in a job or your profession, or you do something else, and you get got married, and then you get, the entire family, everything comes and all. It is all going through the entire cycle of it, we are going through. When we are going through, how am I to refine? Because this is happening to everyone, not to me, the whole world, because barring few exceptions, who have chosen, not to be part of the family life or otherwise, or some of them, by the quick of circumstances, it might be happening. All of us are into that. How do we do that? So therefore, we will have to see ourselves how to refine our process every day and all. So it is basically, if you see, and because there are a lot of psychological components, in our Upanishads are basically a psychology and psychoanalysis. It is not simply telling about some God unknown to you. God is unknown to us. And we have not realized God till such time we attain the qualities of desireless state. Then only we will be able to get that too, for a minute, nimisha. He will come, for a second and go off. But then your mental attitude, your mental calmness and everything, it will all take you to the another state. So that is why after Ekatmya Pratyasaram, you can see your document, there is one more word called Prapanchopashamam. This entire prapancha is the one which is sort of extending to the entire cosmos, entire world, which is offering you the experience of this world. When you are there, because in the prapancha, what happens, you do all those things. You move places, you go for jobs and you have different experiences. And if some people may go to US and settle down, or some of them, may get married there itself. All those things, it is a prapancha prasadam. It takes you everywhere and all. When you go that, and he is the one who is everywhere, we can't forget that he is not only in India, he is everywhere in cosmic. He is looking at you, he is guiding you. What the prapanchopashamam is this, you exhaust, because the prapanchopashamam, once you experience, the everyday experience is the tool for you to exhaust your desire. How can it be done? There was one small example given by one Swamiji. It was a beautiful example. Of course, we might also be knowing and we might heard or something like that. It is like this. So in Himalayas, Rishikesh, and up you go, lot of the Swamijis are there, ashrams are there, sannyasis are there, and all. 6 months of the winter, which normally starts, by September end, October beginning, till March end. I think even the your Badrinath and all, they get closed again. They open, only in the May and all. So during that period, all these Swamijis, they will have to leave. They don't come out, because they are all about 12,000, 10,000 feet above. So there are a lot of organization, even the public at large, the well-wishers, those who are there, they go and give all sort of a requirement for them, like rice, wheat flour, or the gourd, jaggery, and they also give, because they don't take milk. Sometimes milk powder, everything is being given to them, so that 6 months when they will not be able to come to the plains, they are able to survive. So what they used to do, they are all living. Even now, if you go, some of them are living in huts. The huts are, very sort of, the primitive huts, and some of them, because now they have got a little modern facilities and all. Modern facilities in the sense it has got some brickwork, nothing more than that. So what they do, this jaggery and all these sweetness, whatever has been given to them, they will have to keep it tied to the roof, because here, if they keep it, some ants will come, they will also take, because roof also they can go, ants can go anywhere and all, but just to save, till such time, they don't mind ants taking it. After all, they are all sannyasis, for them, no difference and all. When they take, they used to take it and all. So one sannyasi, he was attracted by this prapanchopasama. Prapanchopasama, the word what we said, the attractness of prapancha has to be given up, the worldly desires and all. So he was thinking how to give up and all, but he is very fond of sweet. The sannyasi, somehow he has come from a family. All of us have got a taste, some sweet, some savory and all. That sannyasi is very fond of sweet. He saw the jaggery hanging above him. He just took some jaggery, Then he couldn't get sleep. It was a winter, and normally jaggery you take in winter, because all the sweetness, they all use jaggery only. That gives you a lot of heat during the winter. So he was taking little more as it was getting cold and all. By repeatedly doing that, he exhausted the entire stock of jaggery that night itself. And after taking that, because next day, when the other Swamijis, they all were going to take bath in the Ganges, he was telling, I am very happy, yesterday I have in the Hindi he said, hum prapanch ko mita diya. See, I've just exhausted the prapancha, because there is no more prapancha, it's going to disturb him and all. In the sense, he has exhausted the entire quota of jaggery. So no more jaggery is there. So he will not have any desire for jaggery. Whatever jaggery was there, he has exhausted. That is one way of, just taking, that way of doing it. For next 5 months and that, he will be without jaggery. He has to live with whatever little flower is there and all. That will give him the vairagya. That will give him the dhritashraddhi. That will give him the power of the mind. So he said like that, because this experience was given when we saw prapanchopasama, how am I to do it? Because every day I am in the life. In the sense, once you have experienced, where you have enjoyed, once you know what does it mean to you, after all, finally, once you come to that, then we will not be able to do that. And this is where we will have to go a little further into how to refine ourselves. So once you have this entire, the attractness of this entire world, prapanchopashamam, first to get it out of your mind is very difficult. And we will find, what are all the ways we have to do that and all. Once you get it out of it, Shantam, as the Swamiji said, no more jaggery is available. So there is no more attitude or reason to desire for jaggery. So next 6 months, 6 months if he is used to without jaggery, and for the entire life he may not be having jaggery or anything else. So that is how they are training, because it is some sort of a wanton, deliberate discipline which is bringing about and all. But in our life, because they are all got that, the mental power, when they are in sannyasis and they are residing 10,000 feet above in the hard winter, they have got that, power. But as a human being who are used to the comfort, if the temperature goes little bit, without AC, I am not able to live in this room. I need an AC. And then, because if it goes down, I will put the AC on. And then, of course, if the rain comes, it is again, it is humid. I think I will switch off the AC and put the fan, because likewise, I need the comforts. I'm used to it. Without that, I will not be able to live. So how to get, likewise, this is one example. And the other example, these are all certain things will come by way of tuning our mind and tuning our attitude only. And this happens in our relationship also. So when we have done this Mahalaya Paksha and all those things, even though we may be doing it, but when you talk to people, maybe old or not so old, young and all, if you scratch the surface when you talk to them, they will have some void in them. If I have been put in convent by my father, if my father had taken little effort to train me up, so that I would have got the IIT admission or something like that, you will have some void. Sometimes you may have that, or sometimes you will have, because after all, he has not allowed me to go out of the house, to be in the house, till my studies are over. Had I gone out, I would have got some. See, this type of void feeling, some people, not everyone, some of them have. And even some, because maybe your father might have, in your own interest, might have told some words. Maybe it might have sounded harsh to you at that point of time. But whenever they do it, they have only your welfare and benefit in their mind. But sometimes you carry these wounds for too long. And maybe once you are married, you are because of the attitudinal aspects of every human beings, you may carry little more wounds and you get distanced to some extent. You are not as close to as you were earlier. There certain things might happen. It is other way around also. Your parents might also be hurt. So because you might have, in the exuberance of the youth, you might have said some words, or you were aspiring to become, in the young age, you want to go out and, seek your career or something like that you might have done. Both would have happened and all. During this Paksha, it is the time to seek the forgiving and to forget about all these things. So this happens. This you will do. You will be doing it for everyone. See, because it's not simply I am giving a tarpana. I do that. Don't carry in your mind. Empty your mind. This is the first step. I am telling this paksha is Pitru Paksha. We should not have anything about our Pitrus. You should be, trying to embrace them. You should not carry any sort of ill will or even being as part of, the sort of anguish which you might be nursing all through. You should give it up. This prapanchopasamam, when it says, it also includes. Then only the shantam comes. When it happens, this is to start with the parents. And you also seek their forgiving. When I am doing it, I might have inadvertently, in the exuberance of youth, I might have done, or some people might have married against the wishes of their parents. So for some time, there would not have been any talk or anything like that. So then you will have to do that. But does it stop? Not only that, this paksha is to remind you, not only that, bring the attitude. You also have the same attitude towards your children. If they have, because by, in there also they have to see, because their challenges are much more than what we had in our time. So even if they have done, you should have the full-hearted, broad-heartedness to forgive them, embrace them, and give all your love and affection. And you also indirectly tell them, look, I am for you, whenever you want it. And whatever is there, we have got unconditioned love. But once you have it, what is the effect? You will also be able to sort of, whether you realize it or not, they will be able to give you the unconditional love to you. Your ability to receive is depending upon how you are conditioned your mind, not only to your parents and to your own, because offsprings. It comes both of us. It comes to that. The refining process, it is not that, you desire in the sense, no, I am happy with whatever I am having and all. But with your mind, you are carrying so many things. Your thought is, your cesspool of sea, which has got so much of a Dead Sea, it has got so much of sediments and, which is hovering around. Unless they all have to be removed, then only you have the unconditional love, and finally you will be able to unconditional love towards God. If you are not able to have with your parents or siblings, and like your siblings, your own, because brothers and sisters, some misunderstanding could have been there and all. And I think, even, assuming, even if you try to take a higher dimension, not higher pedestal. To take a higher dimension is your duty. As a elder brother or someone, if you are elder or even a younger can do that, if he is of that mind. To forget about, all the differences, and because now you find in families, some people, even they're not on talking terms. Of course, that has come down, because it was true in a little earlier time, because that was the, you have to remove all those things. If you want to refine yourself, first you will have to create an atmosphere in which you are able to forgive and forget. And so you have to seek forgiveness from whom you think, you might have advertently or inadvertently, you might have committed something like that. It has to come in. So this is very important. In this aspect, before we go to the Shantam, Shivam, Advaitam, the three words which are going to come next, we'll be explaining that. The Shantam is, the one, once you have emptied your mind with all the prejudices, all the dogmas, all the wounds you are carrying all through, you have got, because certain, you already got some certain opinion about everyone and judgment about everyone. I think if you have a judgment, if you discern the judgment and if you discern the judgment, you may be able to come out of it. What happens is once you judge, it comes back to you, and your attitude, doesn't do anything good. It invites further judgment from others. This is a continuous process of cycle. Our refining, will get delayed. In order to enable our defining, we will have to go through the entire process. So this entire process, though we will be little going away from the Upanishad, we will be looking into what are all the ways in which to do. Unless we do it, we will not be able to understand this adrishtam, avyavaharyam, agrahyam, alakshanam, achintyam, anyo avyopadesham, ekatme pratyesharam, prapanchopasamam. Because give up desire, everyone will tell. But you will have to eat, you will have to survive, you will have to live in this world. So you will have to have it to that extent, what is required, you will have to do it, but you don't carry other luggages which is not making you sort of a divine enough to get the realization of the great God. That is what we are going to see that. See, there is in concept of, the healing meditation and all, Essene mirrors are there. Essene, ECCENE. This is not a concept, which we have got a similar concept in some other Upanishad that is coming about. We will see that, because how to refine your thought. In Kathopanishad it comes, in Satprashna Upanishad also it comes. And it also talks about 16 kalas, what is the 16 ways, we do it and all. The Shodasa is a very important number in all our scriptures. But to understand it more sort of a practical way, this is one of the concept which is available. It's a Jewish concept, Judaistic concept. The Essene is supposed to be a 7 mirrors to refine yourself. The first mirror is about yourself. You, what are you? See, in your own esteem, you may be having, because you might have done, you thought, whatever you are living the life as it has been, God has given to you. It is nothing, no doubt about it. You have done wonderfully well. But in spite of it, you may carry some impression. See, I should have done like that, when I was 16 or 22. So I did this error. Maybe I did this mistake. Or a person, who was married against the wishes of his parents. I see, he might think, he has done against, but that's no point, regretting it. Once your mind and soul, once you have accepted that, you have the same attitude of forgiveness to your parents, they will automatically come to you because you are creating. So what is this process? This process is called manifesting. You are manifesting the kindness and the willingness in your parents. So manifesting what you want. When you are manifesting, that comes back to you. So for that, you should have the prime mover, in getting the entire positive, because super positivity is easier said than done. We have used this word, but it doesn't carry any meaning unless you know the process by which you can do it. The first one is, the first mirror is, you see, and don't be, see, you have to have confidence in you. Yes, if the mistake is there, I'm forgiving myself. Yes, I have done. But anyway, now the opportunity is there. At least I will advise someone else. Please don't do this mistake. I have had this particular thing. You may advise them. And you be, sort of a forgiving yourself, and you think joyful. Yes, now I don't have that wound within me. I don't have any mistake. I don't have any self-esteem. See, less self-esteem. So a lot of people do have a less self-esteem because they think, they should have done something in their life. I should have gone for administrative services, or I should have gone for this and all. Don't worry about that. You simply go with what has come to you, and then, take it and be forgiving and satisfied with it. That is the first step. Unless you are able to be full of bliss, you will not be able to spread the bliss. See, Ichha Matram Prabhoho, when we said how the God created, one of the concepts God has created, he was overflowing with the bliss. The overflown bliss comes manifest, and then he wants to take all the seedlings, the jivas, to give an opportunity to Nichochabhavam Gataha. Let them glow and flourish to their fulfillment. That is why entire takes place. That is the first mirror. The second mirror is, you are having some past experience or some past wounds from some other situation or for some other person. So there are people who are taking, what did he told me, when I was 20 years old, or when even 2-3 years before, you might be remembering that. Every time, that person might have forgotten, but you will still be carrying on in your memory and all. So once you remove that, what will happen is your own approach to the person will be more kind. Otherwise, you will be reserved. You will not be opening up. So the barrier will be there. The breaking the barrier is the knowing the Paramatma. So we should not have any barriers in our mind. So that is the third one is, you might have judged people. You might have judged the situation. For instance, you will think, no, I will never go by this particular train, because I had a bad experience. Train has got, it is a insentient object. It is carrying lakhs of people. It's also going there. You might have had one occasion. I'm just telling for example. It might be like that. Or you might have gone to someone's marriage, or maybe you would have found you've not been taken care of properly and all. You have to understand the person who is conducting the marriage. He has got so much of obligations. He might be genuinely interested in you. He might not have done the way you wanted. So you should have. So you should not judge, and you should see. From his position, this is for concern for others will happen when you put yourself into his position. So then you will be able to do it. And the fourth mirror, they say, it is like you feel something you have lost. Something has been stolen from you. Well, it might be you would have liked someone. I think maybe you couldn't get married, or no, you might have liked a particular college where you wanted to study. You couldn't go for reasons beyond at that point of time. You had a constraint and all. And you can't say, I should have gone to IIT, I couldn't go, I studied in some local engineering college. Had I gone there, these are all, see, local engineering college and IIT don't make any difference. A person, if he is willing to go the farthest, whatever, he's capable of, God has given him every potential. You can't attach everything to that. That is, you are conditioning yourself for your disappointment and your inability to achieve. Wherever you are there, and think Abdul Kalam is not from IIT and all. He did his BSc from St. Joseph Trichy, and he completed, the MIT. He had his diploma, and he didn't go to any foreign universities get his PhD. He got it from Vikram Sarabhai Institute of Space Science in Trivandrum. He was totally Atmanirbhar, only from India. He did, but what a great brain. He was a missile man. He was a Bharat Ratna even before he became a president. So that is the level he attained. So therefore, you should not carry the dogmas. What God has given you, what your parents have given you, what your circumstances have given you, they are all good. This happens to a great extent. Once it is the fifth one, sixth is, like what we talked about, our father and mother. And you should not, you should treat them like a child. Whatever they have done is for your good, as they have understood. See, they had the experience, because in those times, their resources were far less than what we are having now. Within the means, they are trying to give you whatever is best they can. What else they can do? You can't say, my father should have sent me in convent. All what? Because if you are not capable, you can go on assigning the reasons for that. But you are capable. You are forgetting that. It is just to remind your capability. Take out the dogmas. And the sixth is you are trying to put the responsibility of your happiness onto others. I think he always talks to me, close family members. And when you are interacting, because you may not be able to stand certain things that will be talked to you. And you only have to pity them or try to tell them, enable them, or sympathize with them. No pity them, sympathize with them, empathy given to them. Because they may be in a different mood and all. The slowly when you give a empathy and you become positive towards them, however, provocative it may be, they may be talking to you and all. You be positive in your mind, thought, and action. They may still say, because you are not doing this or that, but over a period of time, it is a time is the healer. For them also, as you have to refine every day, they also have to refine every day. You will have to give the time. Slowly it will happen, but take it for granted. The Upanishad says, once you do that, the entire thing will come back. What you sow will certainly come back. The last thing is, when you had everything and other things and all, you also see the entire environment in which you try to give the same pleasant environment to everyone. Even other person doesn't give you the same environment, so that you can flourish. You give. It is our job to give. So once you do that, we will be able to get that, and finally we will be able to make it. And you may wonder, because I am doing this, what about the other person? Doesn't matter. See, it doesn't matter. Other person, you don't see, because other person may be making you responsible for his happiness or the misfortune and all. You don't be that. Once you do that, slowly the other person also, the God will give them the environment and vibration. They will get back. This is where we talked about the quantum energy. We are not always particle. We are also the vibration energy. So we are energy in comparison. Ego is energy governing organ is you. When your ego, you just, it has to be there, but unless it controls you, it will control your mind, your happiness, everything and all. That is why ego has to be given. See, it is like mine and me, we have to give up. That's what we say. What is that mine and me? How can I give up? Because I am known by this name, I am known by this. Everyone says, if you go to my previous organization, if you, unless you tell the name, they will also tell. But before telling about me, they will say he was a rude and ruthless person. Someone will say, he's a very kind-hearted person, but he didn't have the tactics to control everyone. So every fellow will be saying something. What they have seen you, like blind man's view of elephant. Whatever they are saying, tell you. As long as you are positive, and as long as you have done to your perfection and belief and open-mindedness, don't be bothered about it. You are going towards that path. You should not give up. See, how can we do that? Because that ego is that, which is coming about, and it pricks you every time and all. So you don't let it not prick up. Ego is just to identification. It is like, your identity card. The identity card, you show it in entering. So with the entry card, you come into this world. That's all. Afterwards, it has to be kept in the box. It is like, as you are giving, the fingerprint to your show or the digital card, you put it in the box. That's all. Forget about it. Rest of it, once you are open-minded, you are everything. That's why when Ramana Maharishi, someone approached him, why I am trying to be so good. I am trying to be so kind. I am trying to help others. Why the others are not doing it to me? Because of that, all my misfortune, all my happiness is there. And all. Ramana Maharishi asked one question. Where are the others? You are the others. Same enlivening power is in you. You don't carry the dogma. So you don't depend on him. If the same enlivening power is in you and in him, and once you are that, this vibration will automatically go. That is the quantum physics says. See, our genes are not controlled only by what we have got hereditary from our parents, grandparents and all. It is also controlled by environment. More you have a feeling of disappointments, more you have feeling of misfortune, that it takes the energy from you and convert into energy. How does it happen? You've got two coherences which is happening simultaneously. One is your mind coherence, because the emotions comes only first. You will have to think about in the mind. The emotion comes from the heart. The emotion carries a positive charge, and the mind carries a positive charge. Emotion carries the negative charge. Both, when they are there, they blow up. They blow up and go into that. Once you have a wrong emotions, they say, because in epigenetics, one science, they are telling, it has come about, it is like, the genetics, how genetics are not controlled by hereditary only. It is controlled by environment. The environment is created by mind and emotion. You try to be disappointed every drop of a hat, you will have whole lot of your emotions will carry, all negative thoughts will accumulate, and all the negative thoughts will create a blockages, manifest as a disease. All our diseases are lifestyle, that is physical lifestyle and the mental lifestyle, attitude. The diseases are only a function of our physical attitude and the mental attitude. If both are synchronized, when you have the coherence of both, you will be devoid of diseases. And even if you have diseases, you try to inculcate, you will be transcend beyond the disease. The disease will go off. You may not need any medicine. Let us recall, when we have talked in one of the discussions, your medicine attempts to heal only 20% of it, that to the symptoms. The 80% is 20% is, your rest of the 40% is your own imagination, how it will manifest into other, whether the fever I have got, will it be this, will it be that? When you do that is another 40%. And the rest of the 40% is what others will think if I have it. So these are all your thinking. It creates all the negative blockages and manifests further into the disease. It becomes a chronic disease. In order to cut it in the bud, you should always have a positive disease. And finally, when it comes, it's a remarkable thing that comes about it. You will have to first love yourself, and love yourself in the sense you have to be fulfilled. You don't have any void left in it. You should not have any expectations. Why the disappointment happens? Because you have expectations from everyone. Don't have expectations. But as far as your duty is concerned, do it. It's not that, you can't expect others also not to expect, but your duty towards children, your duty to them, keep doing it. But you don't expect anything. That is where it comes about. The Seven Mirrors talks about how, because this physical world when we have come into, we have come with the perceptions, we have come into the dimensional reality where the consciousness gives the reality of our sufferings as well as the happiness. The happiness is also momentary, transient, it will go off. So you have a get together with the friends or family, we'll all be talking, and at the moment you left and we will be talking about, immediately within half an hour, I think that day, the dish that has been made is not so good. Anyway, I have taken, having gone there. See, immediately the negative will come. See, because it's a human nature, but you take whatever a person has given with love and affection. I think, once you take it, it will also go with the same form in your belly and get digested. Otherwise, it will not get digested. It will cause further problem. Your gut has a direct relation to the brain, as we said. The entire diseases and the entire your unhappiness, your miseries are the fundamental part of your thinking and the fundamental part of your blockages in your body by virtue of having the negative emotions and negative thoughts. Basically, when we are having the thinking, how the thought comes, when the thought comes, propound, it comes every time, some of them you don't have to take effort at all. 90 to 95% of your entire consciousness is the subconsciousness. Hello, are you able to hear me? It's odd. Huh?
Yes, I am able to.
Hear. We are able to hear.
Are you able to hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. When it is, when it happens, when everything, when it comes about, this negative emotions and charges, how it comes in, the thought is the root cause of entire thing. How thought comes? A thought comes by desire. A desire is, what is the desire? Not that, you may desire a thing, or you may desire a person, or you may desire the state of you being treated. I should be treated with respect. Or, your desire for being considered to be important in a place. In some places, you will have a desire to be anonymous. Let it no one notice. Let me go there and show my head and come back. Because there, you are not happy to be about it all. You should not have all these dogmas anytime. You should not have all these, because you have to be open everywhere. See, you go there, interact, and if some people are, because not talking to you as you want, talk as little as possible, get on with it and do it. But you don't spoil yourself. I think this fellow is always like that. Every time he come here, he tells me negative thing. And some people have got an attitude. Supposing if it happens, what happens? Tomorrow you are going by flight. I understand last year, same time, this flight had an accident. What nonsense. You don't, because no one is controlling. You take that. Because after all, people you can't change. But the moment you be sure, once you are having a positive stance, even that man's tongue will not wag the wrong way. This is exactly what we are trying to do that. Because, very often the complaint is, I am trying to be good. The whole world is not good. You can't change the world. You can change only you. That is why Upanishad says you go about it. Pratibhota vititam matam amrtatami vandate. In Kenopanishad we said, Pratibodha viditam is every minute, whatever cognition comes to you, let it be a fountain of a positive attitude, because you be kind. What is your kindness doesn't cost anything. The God has made you with a kindness. Why can't you reflect the same kindness towards others? If the other person is kind or not, because he needs manufacturing defect, you can't rectify. He has to go to the reset mode. As you are resetting your mobile, he has to be what? When God has created, he has created him in the normal way only. Even if his vasanas are there, he has given him the tools to correct himself in this world. See all his 7 mirrors and see, don't listen to judgment and be positive, be disease free, and you be a sort of a fulcrum of splendor. So everyone, when they see you, they long to see you, they long to interact with you, they long to discuss with you. That is what the whole world is. So how this comes? These are all coming about slowly when we are just trying to see what is the awareness. Why did I thought? So how we have to control the thought and all? You cannot do any deliberate thought. More you try to control the thought, it will generate another 1000 thoughts. It is like in the mythology, once you put one arrow, the 1000 arrows will again come like that. It will come and bombard you. That is why this 5 minutes meditation, what we are trying to do it. Once you are just concentrating on the breathing in and breathing out, the breath, fundamental, which you are not bothered about, it is doing its job to keep you alive and keep you vibrate and do whatever you want. You want to make or break or do this, eat or forget, all those things it is giving you. But you don't give any attention. But once you give the 5-10 minutes attention, the prana, Mukhya prana is also gratifying. What we call Hari Sarvotama, Vayu Jivotama. So he is one, who is taking you to that. He is making you Jivotama. And all 5 pranas, prana, apana, vyana, udana, samana, they are all trying to keep you alive. They are working overtime. But you don't bother. You put, you stuff whatever you like, or whatever, you sometimes you go hungry, even when it is you have to take something, you go without because you had some tiff with someone and some emotions have affected you. You do all those things. But the prana, pana, apana, udana, samana, they have to carry you. That is why Vayu is Jivotama. Why don't you give him 5 minutes to do that? So this pranayama and all is the process of reviving ourselves on everyday basis. And not only that, over a period of time, you will realize yourself. And with such a thing, you will be, interacting with everyone with the same equal footing, you will not be doing anything and all. And you will be doing with irrespective of the fact, people you will not have any like or dislike, because slowly it will vanish. The process of doing it is you will not have any likes, dislikes. You will be taking as it is. And you will be enjoying every moment and every kshana what God has given to you and all. See, the Buddha has said there are 7 medicines for you to live happily in this world: sunshine, water, diet, exercise, and positive thoughts. Once it is there, and because you can transcend everything that is there, because go to have some sunshine. Sunshine in the sense it gives you the bodily energy. Because D12, they say, for most of the diseases, the D12, the particular form of the D, vitamin D, is the deficiency is causes even the cancer. So D12, because there could be D1, D2 and all, but D12 they said it cannot be given by any medicine. The only sunshine can give it. Like water. The water has got a great quality. Why we are taking tirtha? The tirtha is few drops. So if you see in all the nuclear power plant, the cooling agent is heavy water. You might have seen heavy water plants everywhere and all. And during, I think it was one of the prime ministers who had a vision, because Mrs. Gandhi, she had put up heavy water plant wherever you got a fertilizer plant. So wherever ammonia is being produced, ammonia is required for producing heavy water. What is heavy water? Water is H2O. H2O is 2 atoms of hydrogen, 1 atom of oxygen. Oxygen has got a valency of 2, hydrogen has got 1. This is what we have studied in science. It is like a V. The V in the O is there and the H2, 2 are there. They are there. they are carrying the charge. They are always carrying the charge. And the heavy water is nothing but charged up water. What is it? D2O, the deuterium they call it. Instead of hydrogen, they call it deuterium. It is as good as helium in the component. It's two helium atoms, closer to helium and the oxygen. That heavy water has got so much of charge, so lesser amount of, because at least you need only 1/100th of the 1 by 1,000 times less water to cool the nuclear power plant. That is why, these heavy water plants were put everything, because charging the water. When the Abhisheka, when the Tirtha are given, they are all charged up water. And when you are saying the mantra, they said, because Sarvaroga Nivaranam, when they say, it is a charged up water, you should take it. It's not someone is giving you 2 drops of water just because he happened to be a pujari, or he gives you 2. And when it is done in Salagrama is mostly rotund shape, round or oblong, as the case may be. When the water force goes into that, the molecular structure gets changed. When you do the pratima, when it falls, through the pratima also, because this pratima is, they are all consecrated, and you invoke the god in that, and when you bring that, it also undergoes a change. That few drops gives you the charge to your body. Why it is giving the body? When the charge is getting into the body, your blood is able to carry the oxygen to all the plants, all the areas of organs. But if it loses the charge, you can't do it. That is why we are taking it. Water has got such a big, and because there is one Mosuru Emoto, a Japanese businessman come scientist. He's a businessman basically. He has proved by freezing the water in different level and at different circumstances, when he had uttered hate, the water has taken a particular shape, the frozen water. When he had expressed love, it has taken a particular shape. When he has expressed kindness, it has taken a shape. He has demonstrated it. But though, it is not scientifically, because yet to be accepted in full-fledged form, he has demonstrated the water has got the ability to take your feelings and go by that. So when you take a water, with getting, I think, this man, I have to shout at this man, let me have a glass of water. With that you have it. It is a chargeless water goes in you. It's not going to give you any comfort. But when you say, poor man, anyway, he's in a different mindset, let God him. Sabko sanmati de Bhagavan. That is what Mahatma Gandhi said. So let him get his, all wisdom someday. Let God help him, because after all, because let me be kind, because let me try to help him. You take that water, maybe holding your hand and all, it gives you. Even the whole, because whenever we apavitro, pavitro bhava, we take Namo Narayana 8 times and spread it, so that it becomes pavitra. Apavitro, pavitro va bhava. Pundarikaksha Purushottama, when we say, that is what is happening. The water has got that concept. That is the deuterium, otherwise why it is used in nuclear power plant, charged up water. So therefore, you have to take, because whatever it is, we are made of 70% water. The body is composed of 70% water. With all the negative thoughts, all the miserable thoughts, self-misery which you have imposed on yourself, and all the unwanted, because the you don't like, all sorts of, these negative thoughts will cause you lot of negative blockages, and the water will lose the charge in your body. It will not be able to carry the oxygen. That is why, in COVID, when they say it is 83% or 92%, nothing but the ability of the blood to carry the oxygen to your heart and as well as the brain. This is exactly, what, because this meditation and all helps us to go into that particular aspect of it. So while this is the quality of the water, now I think they are taking the water into that extent. They are seeing water wherever it is there. If you go to the desert, where is the mirage is there is no water. But if you go to the Dead Sea, because if you go to Israel, between Israel and Jordan, there is a Dead Sea. Dead Sea, salt is being used for curing a lot of diseases and even for psoriasis and all other skin ailment and other things. Because that is a pristine pure. There is no contamination that is taking place. The river Jordan runs into Dead Sea, and it gets mixed up with the Dead Sea and goes to the Red Sea when it is allowed, but the water is not allowed to go flow. It is being frozen. There itself it becomes salt in Israel. It doesn't go further, the Dead Sea. Likewise, Dead Sea Scroll. There is a Dead Sea Scroll that Jews, before birth of the Christ, Judaism is much before that. They have written something called Dead Sea Scroll, where this only they have written all these Exene mirrors, which we talked about, 7 mirrors. They all lived like a community with the common ownership of